welcome to one of our knowledge transfer sessions. Today we're going to be talking about Medicare, specifically 5 things to know about Medicare. So just kind of some basic tips or tricks, rules of thumb, so to speak, so don't take it perfectly to the bank. My name is John Erickson. I run a financial planning practice next to Overlake Hospital in Washington State, and you are?
I'm Ty Rutherford with We Know Medicare.
All right, and what I like to say in the financial services industry is I generally know like 90% of things, and then I need someone to come in and fill in where I'm wrong, basically. So I'm hoping you can do that today. We've done a pretty good job, I would say, historically so far.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go 5 statements that I wrote down about things to know when talking Medicare. Like, here's what I would say to someone as a lay person. I'm not licensed. I don't earn any revenue on Medicare, but I do financial planning for retirees. And then kind of maybe have you kind of knock it back to me and go, well, this is some nuance within there, basically.
Perfect.
So here's the first one I think about. I do a lot of clients, and as they age, and this is one of my core services. I'm in their life, and I make sure things happen, within reason. And making it happen is a squishy statement, but I'm trying to be that very personal financial planner for them. And what I've noticed is that my clients, as they age, they will start to not be able to get in their email account anymore. Their voicemail box starts to fill up. They're not reading their mail as much as they used to. They age and they just start losing track of things. And when I talk about Medicare, when I try and remember what the difference between an annual enrollment period versus an open enrollment period versus what's a supplement versus what's an advantage, and my costs are changing and the government's changing rules every once in a while, or you might even lose loss of advantage plans in your county, I don't see how you can track it. Like, as you age, is this pretty hard to keep track of, would you say?
I get that feedback a lot from my clients or other folks that I talk to. It is hard to keep track of everything.
Right.
Even as a broker.
Right, that's fair.
It's hard to keep track.
And one of the other videos we were doing, we talked about open enrollment versus annual enrollment. You were like, oh, I got to remember how open enrollment works because,
the
rules changed on you, basically, right?
Right.
So because I have this concept of you have to have a plan for you age, I like to tell my clients, okay, you probably want to do one of 2 things at some point. You either want to have a family member who can help you out, or you do want to engage with a good agent who has access to a lot of plans, because at some point you can't track this easily, and you need someone to summarize these things for you and give you options in a way you can understand it basically later on. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
All right, good. So first thing is have a plan for a new age, right? We'll go through that. The next thing I point out to people when I talk about Medicare, so number 2, is you generally have one of 2 choices. You're going to either pay up front and not have a lot of cost on the back end, or you're going to pay nothing up front or very little up front and have more cost sharing on the back end, basically. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I think generally it's fair to say, but it really just depends on the individual.
Right. Because you might have specific medical situations going on that can change that, right?
Right.
But like if I said, you can pay $300 a month right now, and on the back end, you might have nothing you have to pay out of pocket. Or you can pay nothing right now, and on the back end, you might have to pay $5,000 out of pocket when you need it. So it might be years, or you might die before you need it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's good. So that basic concept of you have to choose, which adventure you want as part of your budget, and no guarantees, but at least it gives you a good kind of basic idea of what you're trying to do.
True. Yeah.
Good. I deal with a lot of retirees, and they love to travel, and they go to Mexico. They go to Europe. I've had people go to the Christmas markets in Prague. I've had people go to Southeast Asia, Australia. How does Medicare cover them when they go out of country?
Medicare doesn't cover out of country.
Well, that's a problem.
That is a problem. Medicare supplements, many of them do have a small amount that they'll pay for emergency care.
Well, that's not a problem because medical expenses are known to be very small, cheap costs.
Yeah, not really. And I believe most of them are on a reimbursement program, so you may have to pay somehow.
So you pay it up front and then you have to fight the bills on the back end?
Possible, yeah.
Most medical situations, that I've heard the reimbursements go seamlessly, very little heartache.
Yeah, and if you're looking at $50,000 in coverage, isn't much. And Advantage plans have worldwide coverage typically, but again, it's you're not getting all that coverage that you have when you're in the States for what you're going to get overseas. It's
so
much.
What do you typically want to do when we talk about Advantage plans? Or not Advantage plans. When you want to have coverage and you go overseas.
Yeah, definitely recommend travel insurance.
Travel insurance the way to go?
Yeah.
Is it just a cheap little supplement thing that people buy?
I'm not super familiar with it.
Yeah.
I just know it's out there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I believe AAA has that option.
Yeah, they do have one.
Organization, and that's something that folks should look into if they're going to be overseas for a while, for sure.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So plan on getting some travel insurance if you're going to go overseas, because you want to have a backup plan on that one. Okay, so you're this is number 4 for us. You're a professional in the Medicare industry, and you get paid somehow, right? Mm-hmm. If I contact you versus, say, going directly to an insurance company or a medical organization, and I'm buying the exact same plan, does that cost me anything different, like using you versus someone else?
No, it's exactly the same.
But then how do you get paid?
The plans compensate agents and brokers.
So if I have a plan saying it's $200 a month, I can buy it through you or anyone, and it's $200 a month, and just behind the scenes, someone's getting paid generally.
Correct.
All right. Yeah. And is there different compensation for different types of plans?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
Medicare Advantage plans and prescription drug plans, those compensation schedules are set every year, and every broker gets the same amount, unless somebody else is taking a little piece of the pie, like above them.
There might be split sharing behind the scenes. Yeah.
Otherwise, no, it's exactly the same. If you go directly to a company, it's going to be exactly the same.
Okay. And then, so it's the exact same cost. You make something behind the scenes, and that's how it works, basically.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy, then.
It doesn't cost you any more to go to a broker or an agent.
Right. Now, here's a problem I've seen. This is another one of those bombastic statements talking about that. It doesn't cost you more to go to an agent, but agents may only have a couple of options, right?
That's true.
So
absolutely.
How does that work exactly? Because, I might be choosing someone as a broker, but they only have 2 options behind the scenes. And is that really a broker? I mean, technically on the card it says it, but,
right. That's something we actually have to disclose now by law, that we represent a certain amount of companies and a certain number of plans in the area for, like, Medicare Advantage plans, for example.
Right.
And prescription drug plans. So folks can, their support through the state of Washington help there. If you want to look at all your options, you can go to Medicare.gov, which is nationwide,
right?
Where you can look at all your options on Medicare.gov as well.
All right, that's pretty useful, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then, overall, I would say that the average person, when I talk about the 5th thing that they need to know about Medicare, is the average person, most of the costs for them on Medicare are going to be later on in life. Is that fair to say? Than the front end? Or is it is there really any difference in cost as you age?
So Medicare Advantage plans, the premium, if there's any premium on the plan, it's the same no matter your age.
Okay.
Medicare supplements in Washington, we're a community rated state, which means age doesn't matter.
Okay.
So if you're 65 or if you're 85, you aren't paying a higher rate because you're 85. Male or female doesn't make a difference. There's no tobacco, non-tobacco rate. It is the same rate for everybody.
And that's called community rating.
Community rating.
I'm glad you fixed my basic way I was trying to explain it. I was like, how do I talk about community rating? Because, I've talked to people in other states, and they don't have community rating. So, how does it generally work in other states that aren't Washington where you don't have community rating? Where can there be rate differences?
Yeah, I don't have personal experience with it, but I have to assume that in some states, maybe every year you get older, it goes up a little bit, or maybe they have rating bands where every 5 years you get older, it goes up. Tobacco, non-tobacco, male, female. I'm sure it differs from state to state, but I'm just...
Right. So even though there's basic federal law on most of the stuff that really is constrictive, then you have different state nuances, basically.
Well, the forms are standardized.
Okay.
So a Plan G in Washington State is going to be a Plan G in Texas.
Okay.
what you're going to end up paying for it.
That's where
and
it's
how
different.
it's rated
Yeah.
is different from states. Even underwriting guidelines. It's private insurance companies that are providing those forms, so it's standardized payment, but not standardized underwriting.
Got it. All right. Well, I think that's a good kind of basic overview of 5 things to know. Basically, have a plan for as you age, because this gets very complicated later, and you have a situation where you lose your Medicare Advantage plan because it just left your county. You better have help, or maybe you have a family member who can step in to help you out. The basic concept of pay now or pay later, which do you prefer? Out of country coverage needs special considerations. It doesn't cost you anything to use a professional. And they do get paid though, so don't worry that they're not getting paid. They are getting compensated. And then just understanding generally that it is state specific, but what you pay is the same as generally everyone else what they're paying, basically.
Yeah,
great.
That's reasonable.
Another good 5-thing video. I think this is good. Anything else you want to add, or should we let people get going?
I think we covered it pretty well.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. My name's John Erickson. I'm a financial planner in Bellevue, Washington, next to Overlake Hospital. And you are?
Ty with We Know Medicare.
All right. We'll keep turning out these videos for you. Thank you.